A very good afternoon and welcome to UBC Lunchtime News. I am Brian Tumuine Biaruhanga, and to our first story. Uganda is facing a growing sickle cell crisis, with northern Uganda recording some of the highest prevalence rates in the country. Health teams in the region are now scaling up screening and awareness campaigns to help curb the new cases. Let's take a look.
Over 20,000 children are born with the sickle cell disease in Uganda each year, with the northern Uganda among the hardest hit regions. Authorities are now rolling out targeted testing and awareness campaigns to address the rising burden.
So our major focus now is to do awareness, screening and testing for sickle cell, especially in schools, institutions, communities, to make sure the community is aware about what sickle cell disease is, what should be done when a family has a sickle cell warrior or a baby or a child, or referral systems where they should go to make sure that this child is helped.
Health officials say Uganda's national sickle cell trait prevalence stands at approximately 17.3%, meaning nearly 1 in every 6 Ugandans carries the gene. In northern Uganda, the situation is even more alarming. For example, in Aleptong district, prevalence is estimated at 23.8%, significantly above the national average. Experts warn that without increased testing and awareness, more children will continue to be born with the disease.
Here in Lango, there is no disease that should take away someone's blood if it is not witchcraft. So most communities think it is witchcraft, and we are struggling to explain to them.
With these worrying statistics, health advocates are now calling on the Ministry of Health to increase funding, expand access to screening services, and ensure the availability of essential medications such as hydroxyurea.
It's very important for everyone to know their status so that they know what to do before marriage. Our young people in future, of course, they are going to get their partners, and we need to break the chain of this disease. The only way we can do this is through testing, and that's why we are here today.
At Good Samaritan Nursing Institute, dozens of students turned up for free sickle cell screening, part of a broader campaign aimed at increasing awareness and promoting early testing among people. Preliminary findings indicate that a significant portion of those screened are carriers of the sickle cell trait.
I've heard about sickle cell, but I didn't have the chance to test myself. I've been hearing and I've been seeing the diseases killing many people in my home district.
So, as per now, when I know my status for sickle cell, I can now plan very well to get a partner so that my kids or my children are not affected.
Sickle cell disease is a genetic condition passed from parents to children. Health experts emphasize that knowing one's genotype is a critical step in preventing new cases. Eddie Ulwa, UBC News.
Thank you, Eddie Olwa, for that. Now let's look at the alternative budget. The alternative government in Parliament has presented a budget projection of 71.4 trillion shillings for the 2026-2027, which is meant to address issues like clearing domestic arrears, reducing domestic debt, and excluding statutory expenses for the discretionary recess envelope meant to fund development projects and also cater for service delivery. Speaking during the launch of the alternative budget priorities at Parliament, the leader of opposition, Joel Senyonyi, said these priorities are focused on safeguarding lives, securing livelihoods, and strengthening institutions. Farida Nafuka brings us to speed.
Members of the opposition in Parliament have raised the concern that the resource envelope, which forms the foundation of the national budget, continues to shift, whereas the second budget, called Circular for financial year 2026-27, projected a total expenditure of 78.2 trillion shillings and domestic revenue at 41.5 trillion. Minister of Finance has revised the figures upwards. indicating estimates of 84.2 trillion shillings in total expenditure and 44.5 trillion in tax revenue. According to the opposition, 44% of the 78.2 trillion shillings is meant to cater for service delivery, noting that 56% of the budget is already committed to debt servicing, refinancing and fixed costs. According to the opposition, whereas the budget projection is large, it does not translate into improved service delivery.
Address the issue of domestic arrears. Government had committed to clearing arrears within 3 years, yet in the proposed budget of government, the allocation has been drastically reduced from 1.4 trillion to a niggardly 200 billion shillings. This is not just a budget adjustment. It's a broken promise. Suppliers and contractors who delivered goods and services to government are now facing bankruptcy. Jobs are being lost.
The opposition, through their leader of opposition, Joe Senyonyi, presented an alternative budget anchored on clearing domestic arrears, reducing domestic debt, safeguarding livelihoods, and what they refer to as building strong institutions.
The reality is that this 71.4 trillion shillings is what we can marshal as resources for the fiscal year. Around accountability, transparency, and governance. Public funds are not always used efficiently. Oversight is weakened. Corruption continues to erode public trust. We must strengthen institutions such as the Auditor General, the Inspectorate of Government, and Parliament's oversight committees. Public resources must be managed transparently, and those who misuse them must be held accountable.
Commenting on the national budget priorities, the Executive Director, Civil Society Budgetary Advocacy Group, CSBAG, Julius Mukunda, is concerned with the new tax proposals, especially increasing tax on second-hand clothes, introducing excise duty of 0.2% on value of all cash withdrawals through the financial system, and tax on smartphones.
For me, the other important element is that if this was done across all financial institutions, then you can say you have a tax policy that is equitable and fair. But if you say only the mobile money transactions and you don't target banks, the commercial institutions, in one way you are saying don't use the mobile money. Tax on smartphones, if you have an iPhone, you can say it's a luxury. But there are these low ones of less than $100. That's not a luxury. That is a shop for somebody. That's the...
Speaking on behalf of National Unity Platform President Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, the acting president, National Unity Platform, Dr. Lina Zedrigan, called for targeted sanctions against corrupt individuals in Uganda. Jim Akena, President Uganda People's Congress, decried the declining number of generaries under the agricultural sector.
Ugandans in the diaspora, I am actively engaging key decision makers and international institutions to scrutinize lending, legitimacy and resources. The money they send does not help Ugandans. It's mostly lost to corruption by government officials. We are calling for targeted sanctions against individuals responsible for turning our country into a source of pain.
And I had 53 generaries under the cooperatives. The production was 208 million meters. When you say Uganda's capacity is 150 million, what we need, 150 million. We could produce 208 million in 1971, when our population was about 7 million. The rest was for export. The facilities were there for export. Now look long. You go to Mombasa.
The chief opposition whip in Parliament, John Baptist Nambeshe, said their alternative budget priorities are not criticizing the national budget projections, but prioritizes people's welfare over excess and their service delivery. I'm Navka Farida and Gloria Guitabinji at Parliament.
Thank you so much, Farida, for that. Uganda's urban transformation journey is entering a new and more secure phase. phase as government rolls out the Uganda Cities and Municipalities Infrastructure Development Program. The new phase builds on the successes of the first and second phases of USMID, which reshaped urban landscapes across major cities and municipalities. The multi-trillion shilling project is expected to deepen economic growth, create jobs and expand opportunities beyond Kampala into emerging cities. Henry Okrut brings us the details.
From dusty, narrow streets to paved, well-lit urban roads, Uganda's cities have over the past decade undergone a visible transformation. Across the first and second phases of the Uganda Support to Municipal Infrastructure Development, USMID, government delivered over 208 kilometers of paved urban roads.
6,312.8 kilometers of pedestrian walkways were constructed. Then 6,342 kilometers of cycle lanes were also completed. Then 127.4 kilometers of designated parking spaces was done.
But even with these gains, pressure on Kampala remains high. It is this challenge that the new USMID phase seeks to address.
As government, if more opportunities are created in the secondary cities, then those secondary cities will be the new areas where our youth and women can go and tap.
At the core is a strategy to channel investments through economic corridors. Here, cities will be linked to markets, transport costs will reduce, and growth for small and medium enterprises will be unlocked.
To promote business development and entrepreneurship, create jobs, boost urban revenues, but also increase incomes and improve livelihoods.
The new phase will focus on 5 key pillars: urban roads and mobility, drainage and flood control, green infrastructure and climate resilience, solid waste management, local economic development, and job creation. The project comes at a cost of $540 million US, approximately 2.1 trillion Uganda shillings, funded with support from the World Bank.
So the $80 million, which is a grant, is a part of the 540.
The previous phases, worth about $510 million US combined, laid the groundwork for this expansion. Their successful implementation is what unlocked the new funding.
We have got this additional funding because the previous project was implemented in a way that was satisfactory, not only to government of Uganda, but to the World Bank, who is funding the project.
The USMID program will target cities, municipalities, and refugee hosting districts. Implementation is expected to kick off in the 2026-2027 financial year, following agreements, procurement, and stakeholder engagement.
As a ministry, we are looking forward to cooperation and support from all government MDAs for the successful implementation of this USMID.
As Uganda looks towards its Vision 2040 goals, USMID will define the next chapter of urban growth, where cities will become engines of prosperity. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Thank you, Henry, for that. Let's now talk security. Security in Apache district has dismissed earlier reports that Apache Seed Secondary School was attacked by gangs, describing the information as misleading. Authorities now say the incident left several students injured, happened outside the school premises. Eddie Orwa brings us to speed.
Spread quickly across the region after reports emerged of a suspected gang attack at Apach Seed Secondary School on Easter Sunday, in which 6 students were severely injured.
Unfortunate incident of Gaba should be an eye-opener. So there is no such an attack. It should be clear that the one of Apach Seed was just an assault on the student who had gone out of the school.
The resident district commissioner for Apach, Andrew Nyok, says investigations by security agencies painted a different picture.
Or the village community never wanted the students' community to interfere with their girls or even to dance with their girls. And then the student from this side, because there were also some which are girls, never wanted the village people to interfere with their girls. So in that confusion and misunderstanding, the fighting started from there.
The head teacher of the school also explains that earlier in the evening the school had held a talent show and film night in line with the new lower secondary curriculum. Students later returned to their dormitories and attendance was confirmed. However, as the night progressed, a group of students reportedly sneaked out of the school and made their way to a nearby trading center less than a kilometer away for a disco. Tensions escalated as students reportedly mixed with the members of the community, leading to a confrontation over local girls. The situation quickly turned violent, with attackers using pangas and knives.
We don't allow them to get out, and the rule is very clear. We have read to them and they are aware. Last Monday, I suspended the guard who entered out, so we are yet waiting from the police, and we have not yet concluded our investigation. In our school rules, once you get out without permission, you are suspended indefinitely.
Yeah, but in custody, I think we have about 7, and that is when the police will be interested in putting them to responsibility of what they have done. Even those students who are injured, they were able to identify about 2 of them that they were the people who fought them.
Even the community around here, they were beaten like nothing.
Like somebody who have even come just to witness what is happening. Seriously beaten. And some other people, they grab money from them. A reconciliation must be done.
Put us as a community down, plus the school, to come and solve this problem. If not, this will become worse.
Our school is fenced partially, is not complete. There's a portion which is not yet fenced. So they use that area which is not fenced to get out. With the results are produced, with the 6 years I've been here, the parents are aware of my commitment and my team in seeing that the discipline is restored in the school. I will remove all the maggots from the mushroom.
6 students were injured in the clash, 2 of them critically. Authorities say most have since stabilized, with the only one still admitted at Apach General Hospital. Eddie Orwa, UBC News.
Thank you, Eddie, for that. The State Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, that is Amos Logorobi, has urged the Kuku community to embrace peaceful coexistence and remain steadfast in faith, trusting God's plan for their lives. He made the remarks while officiating as the chief guest at the launch of Mosalabi's 5th album at Sharing Hall in Nsambia. Let's take a look.
Uganda diverse communities have played a vital role in fostering peace, coexistence for national growth. The Kuku community, a Nilotic ethnic group from South Sudan, have launched an album that depicts their cultural diversity in a digital world. State Minister for Finance Amos Lugorobi launched the album, reaffirming government support for community initiatives.
They needed songs of this kind, that gives them the courage. Because music is actually, this church music especially, is divine. It comes from God. Psalms 100, verse 1 to 2, really talks about it. It is divine. It awakens the spirit, It gives joy in the minds of people, even those that have lost hope. So it has been a very important day for us. We have been able to restore our hope
in Jesus Christ, to restore our hope that even under very difficult circumstances, that there is a God who restores peace in our minds.
The organizers pledged to reinvigorate touch in creative arts to align in today's world of copyright and Neighboring Rights Act. They called for stakeholder support.
We can express our language and the culture in some music, gospel music, which is so interesting, especially from the Anglican sector.
Today it is a wonderful day that as a Kuku, we are standing to proclaim this message to everyone and all nations.
The person of the community, I'm really very, very, very happy because it is one way of promoting our language.
Eranga tuteseeyo tusobole kufuna support, tusobole kukola ki, tusobole kufuna ntambula ne facilities ezimu gye twetaaga era nga tuyita mu kuyimba mu kuweereza Katonda. Nze ewaffe Kayunga nange nze ndi muwagizi wa NRM era nga nze njagala nnyo era nga amawulire gano gasobole kugenda katuuke era nga tata waffe mu mbeera yonna singa asobola okutukwatirako tusobole kugula minibus eyo kuba twagironkinga nga brand new eri ku million 17 naye nga ffe tetulina kasente bulungi era bajeti yaffe esobola tukyalina million 22.
UBC Lunchtime News takes a very short break and shall do return with more news.
When you don't use Momo, you are forced to quarrel.
Mama, kabalansi? Nkuwaire 15 Mama, nkuwaire 15.
Ompaire 15.
Abantu abakulu mwatandisa obuyayi mwena.
Obuyayi obuliwa.
Iwe.
Ngobi yanko bantu
sente dange nizade kolera ngobi nakolera sente dange.
Save yourself from quarreling. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3# to pay and enjoy zero charges below 5K. That's the power of Momo.
It's our mission to secure your money.
Protecting your money is as important as earning it. It is for this reason that the Deposit Protection Fund of Uganda, DPF, was established by the government of Uganda to provide deposit protection to customers of regulated financial institutions. In the unlikely event that your commercial bank, credit institution, or microfinance deposit-taking institution fails, the DPF will pay you up to 10 million Uganda shillings. Keep your personal information such as national identification number, mobile phone, or an alternative bank account updated with your banker. Terms and conditions apply. For more information, contact DPF at Aha Towers, Plot 7 Lodell Road, Kampala. Call 0312-206 400 or visit our website at www.dpf.or.ug.
I'm back from that short commercial break. UBC Lunchtime News continues. Uganda's preparedness to respond to disasters and support affected communities took center stage on Front Bench, the flagship current affairs program on the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. Our panelists highlighted the need to strengthen interagency coordination to protect vulnerable populations amidst the rising climate-related disasters. Let's take a look. My God.
Many young professionals have abandoned the profession due to poor working conditions, opting instead for casual labor.
And for people who have traveled, when you reach like Dubai airport, you find the people written on their t-shirts, "Can I help you?" Some of those people are graduates from Uganda, others are nurses, others are doctors. So as a result, we want to see that that system stops. And we want our nurses to be exported in their professions. And they should go and work decently. So that's the reason we have also signed the MOU with True Merit and Goodwill to see that instead of our people going as maids and the supermarket attendants, they can go and work in their nursing and midwifery professions.
The president of the union, Justice Cherop Chiplangat, commended the government for extending the State House Scholarship program to nurses and midwives and outlined the criteria that will be used in selecting beneficiaries for the scholarships.
The scholarship is for membership, for members of the union, and because we advocated for it, the members should be benefiting. Then two is that we pick by region. We make sure that we balance the regions. Each region brings one. Then again another region like that. Then also we also look at the performance, how good you are, and then we look at also the need for the scholarship, because there are those who can manage to pay their own school fees and get knowledge. Then we are also looking at specialties, because a special course is very expensive, like masters. We offer masters and degrees, those who are going for specialty. So we give them those awards of scholarship.
Chiplangat further reminded President Yoweri Museveni about the previously pledged 1 billion shillings and requested an increase to at least 25 billion shillings to support self-empowerment initiatives through the nurses' Sickle.
Nurses and midwives in this country have never benefited with the Sickle money. So you also went ahead to instruct the Minister of Finance to provide some money for the nurses, and the letters we have them, and the damage check we have them. So we want to ask ourselves, when are we receiving this Sickle money, so that we also have a fair and good welfare for the nurses and midwives of this country.
For UBC News, I am Sudat Kaye.
Thank you so much, Sudat Kaye, but we do apologize. Sometimes technology disappoints. That story was by Uganda Nurses and Midwives Union, where we're taking steps to streamline nurses working in the United Arab Emirates in partnership with government. Now let's talk public speaking. Makerere University Business School is emphasizing public speaking skills to foster integrity, confidence, and business success. The principal MOBS, Professor Moses Muhwezi, says this aligns to the competency-based curriculum being implemented by the education sector. Dorcas Kimono has the details.
A staggering number of businesses in Uganda failed to make their first anniversary due to inadequate planning, insufficient funding, lack of market research, and most importantly, poor communication skills of the proprietor. According to experts, many entrepreneurs struggle to effectively convey their vision, negotiate with clients, and build strong relationships with employees, leading to misunderstandings, lost sales, and high staff turnover.
The discipline of the business people themselves, they are unable to separate business from their home affairs. The money in the business is the one they pick and go for entertainment. There are many factors, but communication is equally important.
It's for this reason that Makerere University Business School, MOBS, is fronting public speaking as a tool to inculcate integrity, build confidence, and businesses that not only survive but thrive.
When we deal with communication, we make our students visible. It makes them visible, they are business school students, and they should be able to stand out in the public and address the masses, but also address the business community, address their clients, the etiquette. How do you talk to clients? Do you shout at them? Do you talk to them nicely? Do you welcome them into your business? So public speaking is very important, and as a business school, we think it's important. It will give our students that leeway to be unique from all other students in the country.
Professor Moses Muhwezi, the principal of Makerere University Business School, challenges business owners to seize opportunities to upskill and prioritize building strong relationships with stakeholders.
How do you give feedback when people ask you questions? How do you answer? When do you answer? How do you ensure communication is effective so that you have that group of customers that will stick to you? So we call upon the business community. Take interest in what the business school does. Please come, get a certificate, even if it's a certificate in communication. It will make your business grow.
The school has hosted a public speaking competition for students pursuing business administration, a short targeting to equip learners from campus to careers.
Because it is believed that money flows where there is value. What is your value?
Makerere University Business School's Associate Professor Rogers Mwesigwa, who doubles as the Dean, Business Administration, says they intend to widen their web to capture more learners for a greater impact.
Maybe if BCom, if 20 students from Bachelor of Commerce expresses interest, they first compete up to the final point. BBC, they compete up to the final point. BBA, then maybe finally we have compete two per program at the final, so that it is a recognized school-wide activity.
Makerere University Business School exists to be the benchmark for business and management education, research and training. Dorcas Kimono, UBC News.
Thank you so much, Dorcas Kimono. But to our audience, are you a good public speakers? That will be answered by you. Now, that story brings us to the very end of UBC Lunchtime News. I am Brian Tumwine Byaruhanga. Goodbye and God bless Uganda. They're saying that they're going to buy a
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Hi, and welcome to Kiswahili Kimoja. Let's learn some farm work. Tujifunze kazi wa bustani. Kukamua, kukamua, milking. Bibi anakamua ng'ombe. Bibi anakamua ng'ombe. Grandma is milking the cow. Kupulizia, kupulizia, spraying. Mjomba anapulizia dawa ya wadudu shambani. Mjomba anapulizia dawa ya wadudu shambani. Uncle is spraying pesticide in the garden. Kulima, kulima, plowing. Babu analima shamba kwa trekta. Babu analima shamba kwa trekta. Grandpa is plowing the garden with a tractor. Kutandaza, kutandaza, mulching. Baba anatandaza majani shambani. Baba anatandaza majani shambani. Father is mulching the garden with leaves. Good job.